The Safe Place is a short 25 to 30-minute film about a fragmented family that leave the city in order to find a safer place to live. The Vodni virus has mutated and spread throughout the city. It's now a nationwide epidemic, and the shoot-to-kill policies imposed by the authorities. The inspiration came from reading Z for Zachariah as a child by Robert O'Brien. It was made into a BBC film over several episodes in the early 80s, and a film called Psalm 21, where the sort of zombie-like characters come from.
What do you like about zombie films?
Just the way they're all laid out, the plot of them, the prosthetics, the way the actors just act, it's really good. And I like the way that it all builds up and culminates into a big end scene.
Quite a lot of planning as far as the locations of where certain scenes would be shot, the planning in relationship to the actors, in relationship to the budget, in relationship to the script, and having a script which is believable, and a range of things that happen within the plot which are reasonable and realistic, and even the zombie-like characters themselves, having them more realistic than conventional zombie characters. Finance is always essential in making a good film. Finance was needed in order to have a known actor, and also for the lighting, the portable green screen and so on. So we knew that there would be a budget required in order to pull off what we're looking to achieve. We wrote begging letters to Awards for All, to the cooperative movement, to Lincolnshire County Council, and through Indiegogo we fund it, and a range of crowdsourcing websites. Rather than make a student film which is made by a student or student team and has student actors, the idea is to get this film so that it can be shown as a professional piece of work in order to get more finance down the road. So as a result, we've collaborated with some students from special effects and makeup doing second year coursework, but also people that are already doing makeup and special effects that have already graduated or have their own business. The same with music. Rather than take music from the web or rip it and so on, we've commissioned Phil Dane to do specific scores of music which we're paying him for. So that's all original music. As far as getting additional camera people on board, we're looking at No Media, we're looking at Let There Be Light Productions, and we're looking at other people that can bring new ideas and different ways of doing things and different experience into it. And then with actors, we're looking also at, you know, other than just people that we know, looking at actors from little theatre group and sort of amateur dramatic groups around the area.
How did you hear about this project?
It's actually through a friend who knows Neil. So I contacted Neil and then got on through that way, through Facebook. And then I got all my friends together and then just come over here in the zombie hearse.
Physical camera equipment, we're looking at Canon 550s, we're looking at EX3s, we're looking at other equipment that we haven't messed about with yet, so possibly some head cams, possibly some smaller cameras that can be used for in-car shots. We've got a portable green screen that we're looking to use. We've got a haze machine which we're looking to use. We've got a whole range of different lighting, from blondes to halogen lamps to spotlights to army issue glow sticks and that kind of thing. So quite a variety of different equipment, some of which we've used before, some of which we're experimenting with. Because it's accumulation of 3 years worth of work, it's taken on board some of the filming techniques and some of the post-production editing and so on that was done with Richard II, which is a BYFA production I was involved with in 2011. It's special because it's using 3 locations which are all nearby to each other, so as far as the logistics of it all, it can be panned out and work together quite well. And it's special because we're not relying on dialogue as much as other narrative films rely on. We're layering on a lot of the sound, a lot of the special effects, a lot of the Foley, and that's all been layered on afterwards, which gives us more opportunity to get the actors to do what we want them to do. We can instruct them how to move, how to do this, how to do that. And it's special because we're using some techniques with special effects with the zombie characters that I've never used and done before.
Birmingham, Liverpool, there are isolated incidents in Bristol and other cities.
The collaboration is just really a case of finding out what you need help with. With any film, you're only as good as the team that you work with. Your film is only ever going to be as good as the team that is supporting you and that you're working with. If there's something that I can't do, rather than try and do it to the best of my ability, but know that that wouldn't be visually appealing, or it wouldn't look as it should, or the script won't work as it should, or whatever, it's getting people on board who have a specific talent which allows them to get across sort of their message. So collaboration I found fairly easy. It's not been as difficult as I thought it would be, mainly because it's a case of having something to show somebody, this is what the film's going to look like, this is what it's all about, getting them to believe in the film, getting them to understand fully what it's all about. It's all been planned out before I go knocking on anyone's door. And they want to be involved because if they're a filmmaker, they want to pick up a camera, they want to make a film. If they're into editing, they want to edit, they want to make a zombie character that looks as good as it possibly can. If they do music, they want to create a piece of music that will be on a film that they can get in the titles with. So collaboration's out there. It's just a case then of constantly keeping them updated, constantly letting them know that, you know, they are needed and, you know, what time frames we're looking at. Luckily, this is before we're even going to shoot, so there are no pitfalls at the moment. I think the only thing I did find most troubling was to get the weapon, which is the Glock, which Miriam, the main character, has. It's a replica weapon, so it does what a Glock does. Getting one of them in black colour is very difficult because you have to either be a filmmaker and you have to prove that it's going to be used as a prop in a film, or you have to be part of a gun club or airsoft or whatnot. So that was a bit difficult just to get that weapon there. But, you know, we got it.
What do you like about zombie movies?
I like how they draw you in so that you start to formulate your own plans about how to overcome the situations that the characters go through.
So, right, so it's sort of like you're prepping yourself.
Yeah, it always makes you wonder, what would I do in that situation?
The safe place, if there were any sort of couple of films that it was going to mimic, it would mimic sort of 28 days, 28 weeks later, although the characters aren't full of rage, they're more zombie-like characters, but they move fast, they're not like conventional zombies that are slow and, you know, and drag themselves along. So it's a bit like 28 Days Later as far as the characters would go, the zombie characters. They physically would look more subtle, so things like The Ring, things like Darkness, things like Psalm 21, where the characters are pitch white, chalky white, and they've got a couple of features like black eyes and the mouths are sort of bleeding and that kind of thing. So a subtle version of a zombie would be the characterisation of them.
What do we like about zombie movies?
I like how potentially realistic they could be with epidemics and diseases that always are going around the world, so it makes it a little bit more realistic that it could actually happen, which is a lot more sort of, you could believe, more believable to your standard horror film. So it means that you obviously can get scared a lot more, or other sort of various emotions from what you'd get from the film.
Well, research-wise, we've looked at films that relate around contagion, around epidemics, pandemics, things like virus, things like outbreak, things like contagion.
It's quite possible you're highly contagious. Don't talk to anyone. Don't touch anyone.
We're working very hard to find out where this virus came from.
Where this kind of scenario that the families found themselves in is a result of infected water. So how that virus would mutate and transfer on through the population. So the physical, that sort of thing is what we're looking at for the storyline. As far as the zombie characters go, it's just looking at what other zombie films are out there and what we want to mimic. So, you know, a bit of Wreck, a bit of Quarantine, a bit of Wreck 2, a bit of Psalm 21. That's the research. There is interest out there, and you know, the idea is to make this film broadcast ready and to have an own actor in it and to make it as best as we possibly can in order to then show it to somebody that will take you more seriously and say, okay, this is what I've done on a smallish budget, let's see what we can do with more. And the idea is it to be a stepping stone to make a similar film, if not a remake, and extend it out to a feature of sort of 90 minutes or whatever.